What's up, agents, and welcome back to another Division video where you can see here right now I am on Rogue Gold's latest video. Be sure to go and check it out. It's definitely a great one because I also feature. Big shout out to him and big thanks for featuring my comment in his hot takes video. He did, and basically he put it out on his socials. He said, give me some hot takes for the Division. And you know, let's see where this goes. He handled it extremely well because obviously hot takes can lead to hot comments. But yeah, he did a really great video. It's definitely worth going and checking out. And I agree with a lot of the hot takes. Like I am that guy. I agree with a lot of the hot takes. And here we go now, right off the rip. You can see this was the comment that I didn't think too much about it when I posted this comment. I just kind of like I sat there on my phone and I was like, do you know what? I will put this, right? It's a hot take. I will put this, right? Exactly what he asked for. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And let's get into it. Right. So what I want to talk about today, I don't want to talk about the same kind of thing Rogue did in his video. He's done an excellent video. You should definitely go and check it out. But what I do want to talk about is what do you guys as Division players actually want, right? So when I read the comments and the feedback from my post, aside from the insulting ones, which you get it as a content creator, we get it, right? You don't always agree with us, and some people don't, you know, feed it back in the most respectful of ways. It's just the nature of the beast. But when I wrote this, I put, as Div 3 is so far away, capping expertise and raising the level cap to level 50 would be a good idea. Everyone will hate this, but all RPG MMO games do it. It's real progression. I also put the biggest mistake was not just bringing survival in year one, but that again was just a little bit of a jab for, you know, one of them things that we hear in the community over and over and over again. Do I actually think bringing survival back in year one would be a good idea? Actually, yeah, it probably would be, but would it need to be very different than the, you know, version 2? It absolutely would be, but I digress. But what I want to talk about is my level 50 comment. And in the comments down below, we'll see if we can see any here as good examples. Is we get things like this here. Level 50 would be a suicide note. Level 50 isn't needed in Division at all. In Division 3, sure. A level 50 increase with no way to increase what we already have to level 50 is not a good idea. Many of us will quit the game on the spot. Now, he's on to something there, and I'll come back to that in just a moment. A level increase would make very long-term players stash redundant overnight. Years of grinding down the drain. Yep, blah, blah, blah. I get it. Absolutely right as well. I absolutely agree. A level cap increase would mean that I would quit. I wouldn't throw a tantrum or anything like that. I wouldn't play anymore. Some things are just too rare, and I literally took me years to get some builds. I get it, exactly right. And I think this is where the confusion about my comment comes in. Now, Division has been in a very odd spot, right? The game was meant to be, you know, done ages ago with the end of the Faye Low storyline. That was literally meant to be it. The team was meant to be gone, going doing other things, and you know, just the game was maybe put on life support, you know, just like Division 1 is now, right? And they decided for whatever reason at Ubisoft that they're going to carry it on, but the dev team had already moved on. Like all the big players that were already developing it had already gone, and it kind of left the game in a development kind of ditch, right? There was no team to work on it, but yet they wanted to carry the game on, and we saw that for a long time. We had reruns of seasons. People were very upset that there was no new content being added to the game, and this kind of brings me back, circled all the way around to my comment and why I said what I said, that we have been stuck in this kind of development place that's taken such a long time, and even now with the DLC not arriving on time, we're still there. Whereas really when it comes to actual, you know, content, we've had Countdown, you know, we got the Incursion and things like that. But for the 4 years that we've kind of had the game, it's kind of been lacking in giving us that content oomph, right? The game's been kept on live support. We have had some things. We've certainly had a lot of new gear. You know, the team has done, and this is not me trying to, you know, insult the team, for the size of the team and what they've had to cope with and what they've had to go through. I think they've actually done a pretty good job. I think they do a good job. Yes, it's not been without its problems. We've been there with delays, bad patches and things like that. But I think to bring the game back from dead to where we are now, and hopefully, you know, a successful year 7 with the DLC, I think, you know, they've done pretty well, right? But again, that's going away from what we're talking about here. So for us to move to level 50, I fully understand that I, more than anybody, have very rare items in my stash. Them unicorn chest pieces, unicorn backpacks that drop once in a million years. And would I want to lose all of that? Absolutely not. If they did move us to level 50, I would hope for some kind of upgrade system, some kind of system where we can take our 40 gear to 50 as part of our grind. I'm not, you know, I was never saying that just give us 50, put my stash in the bin and end the game completely. I did see a lot of other comments of people saying, oh, these content creators, they've got all the time in the world to grind. And I'm telling you now, I probably play the game less than you. I'm not a full-time content creator. I have a full-time job. I'm also a father. I play the game. Some days I don't even play the game, you know. So I think people saying that just because certain content creators can grind day in, day out. Yeah, people can. People are lucky enough to be able to stream on Twitch every day and, you know, play for 6 or 7 hours a day. You know, GG's to them. Like, that's really the life, right? But I think the comment needs some more thinking about. And what I will kind of round this video up with is, what do Division players really want? I also wanted to talk a little bit about seasonal characters and how that really went down really badly with the community when they wanted to bring that in. And not without good reason. The game is aged a little bit now. Would seasonal characters be the best fit? That was kind of what I believe they were trying to do to extend the game's life up until Div 3 would be a thing. Did that have some good ideas? Absolutely. I believe that, you know, the Div 3 PvP scene would have thrived off that a little bit. I feel like a blank slate at the beginning of a season for Dark Zone PvP actually could have been pretty exciting. And I think, you know, the game or games do survive a lot of the time off having a PvP community, you know, thriving. Div 1's PvP community did thrive when it got to that 1.8 patch. And I believe that did keep the game alive for, you know, a lot longer than it probably would have. Even now to this day, people still play that Div 1 PvP. So I do believe that seasonal characters might have had a place in Division 2. Do I believe that it, you know, us having to use a seasonal character for our entire season, give or take the end of it, was the right idea? Probably not. It probably would have been nicer if that grind would have just been, you know, over once you kind of capped out for that season rather than it be a time restriction. But I mean, I'm digressing again here in ways to try and make a seasonal, you know, profile better for the game. But I do believe that's what they were trying to do when they were, you know, wanting to make the game last just that little bit longer. So if it's not seasonal characters, if it's not a level 40 to 50 upgrade, the question is, what makes this game survive for another few years until we get that Div 3 fix that we really want? Because I think if the game just stays as it is now without any real progress being added to the game or any real progression added to the game, people are going to leave anyway. So the people that are saying that, you know, I'll leave the game if you give level 50 and it makes my stash redundant, you're going to get bored in the 3 years or so that it takes before Division 3 comes out. If all you're going to be grinding for is new gear that comes into the game, and let's face it, it's always nice to get new gear in the game, new gear sets and new brand sets, but are they actually needed? No, you can still use all of the same sets that we had back in year 1 very successfully in this game, if not more successfully sometimes than what gets added to the game on a patch basis. So all you're grinding for is gear that isn't actually needed, you know. And I think if that's an ask for the next 3 years with no real progression added to the game, expertise, people hate it. You know, it's not really what people want as a grind. It's not really what people want as an RPG, the MMO side of the game that people actually want. And I feel like people who say that they will leave if the level cap goes up, they would have left anyway by the time we get to that 3-year cycle, by the time the game actually dies and we get, you know, Division 3. And I feel like that's the problem. And, you know, then you'll get the people that have already gone. You know, they played the game for the first 3 years. There's no real progression in the game anymore. I've maxed out. I really don't need any of these other fancy builds that are coming out or anything like that. And they've gone anyway. So it's kind of a catch-22. And that's what I was trying to say with that comment. I fully understand that people will hate that if they destroy builds by just moving as a blank level 40 to 50. I get it. I'm in that same camp. I would be, you know, I'm maxed out. I'm level 27 on a lot of my pieces. I've got a lot of unicorn builds and things like that because I've played the game since release, you know, a lot. I would absolutely be in the same camp with no kind of refund system, no kind of upgrade system. I would be deeply hurt. Would I stop playing in reality? No, probably not. You know, because, you know, like some of the comments say, I'll just create content on it. I play this game because I like playing it and I create content for it. You know, not the other way around. I don't create content for the game for that reason. I create the content for the game because I like playing it. And I play it less. I find myself playing it less and less and less and less because I am at that point where when the season comes out, once I kind of get that gear and max it out, I'm done because there's no other real progression in the game. And that's really what I was trying to say. And that's really what I want to hear from you guys down below. What do they do? You know, what do Division as a whole, Massive Entertainment, to keep people here for another 3 years? Because I certainly don't think that all the people that are upset in the comments at, you know, at people like me saying things like this will be here in 3 years' time, because they'll just be fed up. They'll just be like, I've nothing to grind for, I'll go and play something else. And there's not always something wrong with that. You know, people are entitled to go and play other games. You know, people can go and, you know, do other things. You know, why not? Like, you know, I play other games. You know, everyone plays other games. But, you know, if Division's got to live for another 3 years, the DLC is not going to cut it. Because I think people fully expect that DLC to be more than what it's actually going to be. I think it's going to be a very small map, very few, you know, a few missions and a nice little area for us to run around with to progress the story. But I think that's going to be it. It's not going to be Warlords of New York. And most people had Warlords of New York wrapped up in a couple of days, aside from launch issues and, you know, and things like that. And how often do you visit that map now? Well, I'll let again you answer that down below in the comments. So that's my that's kind of more explanation on my hot take, and I do hope this really drives a positive conversation down below in the comments to actually what people want. And maybe the devs will actually take, you know, some notes of it if we get some good suggestions down below. You know, if you want this game to continue for 3 years, it can't just continue on a cycle of new season and new gear with no real grind and no real progression. Seasons 2.0 went in the right direction for a new season pass and things like that. I do believe that was a good step in the right direction, aside from apparel events going missing. Hopefully they'll make a comeback. But yeah, I think they did push it in the right direction. But if this game's got to remain interesting, a good grind, I think it's got to, you know, have more than just new gear for that to happen. And to me, that naturally feels like they would have to push the level cap up to a level 50. But again, it brings all kinds of other issues as well about content, level difficulty, you know, and things like that, that, you know, would also be a problem in doing that. So anyway, I have ranted on a long time now, but hopefully that brings a little bit of explanation onto why I said that, and hopefully it brings some really useful discussion down below. What is going to keep the Division alive for the next 3 years? Will these people who don't want a level 50 increase still be here in 3 years' time? Maybe some, maybe won't. I don't believe everybody will be. And, you know, and what about new players? You know, are new players gonna, have they got enough to get their teeth into? They probably have. They've probably got a good couple of, you know, days in here. If they start playing the game now, the game's definitely more user friendly. So, you know, can they survive off new players till the next game comes out? I don't know. But I'm going to leave the rest of it down below to you guys in the comments. Try to keep it respectful, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching, agents. Goodbye.